Here we're at an interesting little intersection. This is the Ritora House. It's closed right now. But this represents, I think, one of the three phases of the Bulgarian national revival periods of architecture. And notice this overhanging style, which we saw in some of the smaller towns in Albania. Now it's interesting that this is in French and Bulgarian, but not English. And three of the girls at my hostel are here teaching French. Bulgaria. It may be that all these houses are open on any day but Saturday and Sunday. House once belonged to George Mavridi, a merchant from Plovdiv, built in 1829-1830. Typical representation of the Plovdiv symmetrical house. Due to the terrain displacement, it has irregular shaped foundations. The large wooden gate leads into a small terraced yard. The first floor has hosted a small exhibition parlors, and the rooms on both floors have wood-carved ceilings and niches decorated with a la franja, F-R-A-N-G-A ornaments. Interesting to look a little bit at these timbers. Hand-hewn, whether they're original or not, I don't know. And put in with large nail spikes into equally large timber. And these panels, I don't know if they were just to cover up, let's say, inside the basement. The back of the house is most interesting. Why it's called symmetrical, I can't tell from these vantage points. And this might have been part of the original structure, and that might have been a kitchen stove vent, if you will. Nice backyard wall. And I'm betting that this is ironworks for the arbor that holds that grapevine over a patio area. Here, a very lovely, what looks like someone's home. Beautifully decorated with a whole, gosh, what would you call that? Superstructure of arbor? We're going to go down through and looks like an old section. If you're wondering if I'm lost or not, I am. I'm way off wherever it was I was thinking I was going to be. But this is pretty neat, isn't it? And leads off of one of the three hills in this area. This one may be it, Nepe Tepe, I think it is. But what a lovely home this is. And I'll bet you there's a certain amount of Roman city in these rocks. These little chimneys are pretty. It looks like they're designed to keep the smoke up and away from the building and living areas. This pretty building is the Old Town Residence, probably a hotel of some sort. Pretty. And here, a part of that adjoining property that's falling down. This, no doubt, slated for some kind of construction. But look at the bedrock it has to build off of. This is interesting, built at the beginning of the 19th century. It's a Dervish Monastery. Quite lovely inside. Let's see if they got a bathroom. This was a monastery. It's now a business that allows bathrooms only for clients. My guess is that this hill and these streets house either very old historical houses or old historical upgraded houses for the wealthy. Now back on the street, I wanted to This is the old pharmacy built in 1872. So she tells me this is never open, so apparently many of these historical monuments are just never open. I don't know if this is an actual fountain of spring water you can drink. Doesn't look like there's any water coming out, but it's a pretty little parklet in this tourist area. Hiker's hostel that I investigated, but it was too far up the hill, I thought. Not one of the houses I want to visit, I don't think, but I may be forced into visiting it anyway since there's nothing else available. And it does appear to be open. This looks like a pretty little well and the device for bringing the water up. And a pretty yard that Ivan had. This is what his home looks like. Simple, plain, solid, closed. Even the art reflects suspicion in their faces. It's the upstairs that looks like it was for living, like big grand rooms. Again, this central front room with side rooms for parlors or whatever. I don't know whether these are original or not. These rooms look like they have screens. I tested them, they are screens. Maybe for heat that was brought up somehow from below. And they're venting. I'm on the grounds of the City Gallery of Fine Arts, a museum for the icons of some of the churches in the area. This looks interesting, so I'll go down and look at it. I thought there was some kind of Roman ruins here. There's a reference to a round tower. Here, what looks like a Roman wall, and maybe another there. Down in there we can notice something, but not much through the darkness. Okay. That may be the round tower. Not exploited as well as other places. I think the icons it's displaying, among others, are those from Constantine and Elena Church, 1832. So we'll go inside and take a look at what we can see. Here, a lovely bell tower at the corner of the courtyard of the church. Here's some interesting wall paintings. Whether this is Constantine getting his vision from Christ before the battle, or from God before the battle that he won, causing him to respond to that vision of Christianity, and so he converted the empire to Christianity. For fear of not being able to film, I'll do so from outside. If you take this outer colonnade, for lack of a better term, and look at the pedestal down here, which would have at some time held a column, but there you can see fluting at the bottom. So whether this is a piece of column that was fluted and maybe more remains below, I don't know. This is a very rich, dark heavy, but pretty church. These may well be the covers of sarcophagi, or they were actually put in the surface of the floor over a grave, but these are not worn. Well, they are a bit actually. So I don't know which it could be. If they were placed in a low traffic area, they don't get heavily worn. If they were placed in a high traffic area because the person was important, they might get heavily worn, like that portion right there. Here outside St. Constantine's Church is a good place to sit and view the peeps walking on the street.